Hello, welcome to Teacher Bob. This is a tutorial on how to play on ukulele the song I Got a Feeling by Black Eyed Peas. This tutorial is based on its official music version, and here's the link to that version. I suggest that you click on that link and listen to that version, as that is my reference for this tutorial. If you are new to this channel or this is your first time to visit this channel, thank you for checking out. I hope that you would find this tutorial interesting. In this tutorial, you will learn the chords to play for this song, the playing time for each chord, and the appropriate basic rhythmic patterns. If you are a returning or a revisiting subscriber, thank you for dropping by, and I hope that you will like this tutorial. Before we get started, let's discuss first the basic elements of this song. The first thing to discuss are the chords. But before we talk about the chords, let's review the numbering of the strings of the ukulele. The bottom string is numbered 1, this one is 2, 3, and the top string 4. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the spaces, this space, and this, and this, and this, we designate this space as first fret, this one is second fret, this one is third fret, and this one is fourth fret, and so on. But for the chords used in this song, it only covers the first 4 frets. So these frets, first fret, second fret, third, and fourth fret. This song uses only 3 chords. The first one is G, which is a major chord, and this is the shape for G. So for this chord, you have your index finger on the 3rd string at 2nd fret, your middle finger on the 1st string at 2nd fret, and your ring finger on the 2nd string at 3rd fret. And the 4th string is left open, and this is the sound. The next chord is another major chord, C. And for the C major chord, you have your ring finger on the 1st string at 3rd fret. The other strings are left open, and this is the sound. And the 3rd chord is a minor chord, E minor. And for E minor, this is the shape. You have your index finger on the 1st string at 2nd fret, your middle finger on the 2nd string at 3rd fret, and your ring finger on the 3rd string at 4th fret. The top string, or number 4 string, is left open, and this is the sound. Now let's talk about the chord progression. Chord progression is the sequence of chords, or the succession of chords, or the pattern of chords. And this song has only one chord progression. The first chord to be played is G. It is then followed by C, and C is followed by E minor, and E minor is followed by C. So the chord progression is G, C, E minor, C. It is this pattern of chords that you repeat over and over up to the end of the song. Now let's talk about the playing time of each chord. The song is written in 4/4 time signature. That means there are 4 beats in every measure, and you have to count up to 4. So the counting would be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to the end of the song. For this song, the playing time of each chord is 2 measures. Now this means you are going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 for 2 rounds for each chord. So starting with G, it's gonna be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you move to the next chord, which is C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you move to the next chord, which is E minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you move to the next chord, which is C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the playing time for each chord in the chord progression. So again, since our first chord in the chord progression is G, the second chord is C, the third chord is E minor, and the fourth chord in the progression is C, you will have to give each of these chords two measures. And it goes this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But of course, you don't have to count loud. You can count in your mind to do this. Now let's talk about the rhythmic patterns. For this tutorial, I will suggest two basic rhythmic patterns, and these are quarter note rhythm and eighth note rhythm. If you are not familiar to these patterns, which are for the right hand to do, I suggest that you watch the tutorial for basic rhythmic patterns, which is given in this link. For quarter note rhythm, you strum each time you count, and I suggest that you do a downstroke for a strum. So to demonstrate quarter note rhythm on downstroke strums, for the first chord G, it's going to be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's quarter note. And for eighth note rhythm, you have a pair of downstroke and upstroke each time you count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now to demonstrate that for a chord, let me use C. It's going to be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's talk about the tempo of the song. The tempo of the song is actually fast, and it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But for this tutorial, I would suggest for a slower tempo. If you are a beginner and still have difficulty moving between chords or switching between chords, it's always a good idea to learn the song at a slower tempo. Learning to play a musical piece on an instrument is a multitasking thing. You have your left hand busy with chords, your right hand busy with the rhythm, and you have to do it at a steady, even tempo. So use a slower tempo that will help you do those things correctly and on time and steady. So those are the basic elements of the song. The chords, chord progression, playing time of each chord, the rhythm or rhythmic patterns, and the tempo. Since we have discussed these elements, now we can get started. The intro of the song. The duration of the intro is just one round of the chord progression. And I would suggest a quarter note rhythm on all downstrokes for the intro. And so it goes like this. If our tempo is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then the intro sounds like this. That's for the intro. Right after the intro is the chorus. The duration of the chorus part is 2 rounds of the chord progression. And I will suggest for a quarter note rhythm for the chorus part. And so it goes this way. Now that's for the chorus part. After the chorus part is verse number 1. The duration of verse number 1 is 4 rounds of the chord progression. And I would suggest for 8-note rhythm for this part of the song. And we will do 8-note rhythm on a pair of downstroke and upstroke each count. So if I'm going to do 1 round of the chord progression, remember each chord is to be played for 2 measures. If our tempo is 1, 2, 3, 4, then it's going to be like this. Now that's just 1 round of the chord progression. If you are not able to follow, let me do it with counting. So it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There. That's just 1 round. But verse number 1 is for a total of 4 rounds. So you have to do 4 rounds of the chord progression for verse number 1. But there are a few changes on how C and E minor are played on verse number 1. And we are going to discuss each of those rounds. So for the first round, you'll have to play the first chord, which is G, for 2 measures on 8-note rhythm. So it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then go to the second chord and do it for 2 measures on 8-note rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then to the third chord for 2 measures on 8-note rhythm. And the chord is E minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the fourth chord, which is C, is to be played on 8-note rhythm for 1 measure only. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the next measure is a whole rest. So that means you have to stop the strings from ringing and keep it silent for the next measure. So you still have to count up to 4, but at that measure you don't strum. So it's like this, starting from the first chord, which is G. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the first round. Or that's how you play the first round of chord progression for verse number 1. And for the second round of the chord progression for this verse, verse number 1, the change is also on how the fourth chord is played. The fourth chord is C. So let's start with the first chord, which is G, and do 8-note rhythm for 2 measures. So it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then to the second chord, which is C. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then to the third chord, which is E minor, also for 2 measures on 8-note rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then to the fourth chord, which is C. This is where we have a change. This is where we play it differently. Instead of playing the fourth chord for 2 measures on 8-note rhythm, we are going to play 8-note rhythm for the first measure. So it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. But on its second measure, we are going to strum it on 8-note rhythm up to count number 2. 1, 2. And then when you get to count number 3, that's when you stop the strings from ringing up to count number 4. So this is how it goes from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's it. That's how you play the second chord progression for verse number 1. Now for the third round of the chord progression, the changes are on how the second and the third chords are played. Our first chord is G. Still the same. You played for 2 measures on 8-note rhythm, so it's like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then going to the second chord, which is C, you play the first measure on 8-note rhythm, so it's like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then going to the second measure, you are going to strum only up to count number 3. When you get to count number 4, you stop the strings from ringing. So it's like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I'm going to play C for 2 measures with a break or rest at count number 4, it's going to be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then going to the third chord, which is E minor, you do the same thing. For E minor, you're going to play the first measure on 8-note rhythm. You strum on all counts. But when you get to second measure, you are going to strum only up to count number 3. When you get to count number 4, that's when you stop the strings from ringing. So it goes like this. First measure of E minor, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then going to second measure, 1, 2, 3, 4. You stop right at count number 4. And then the fourth chord, which is back to C, is to be played for 2 measures on 8-note rhythm. So it's like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I'm going to play the whole third round of the chord progression, it's going to be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's the third round of the chord progression for this verse. And for the fourth round of the chord progression, it's 8-note rhythm all the way. So it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's how you play the first verse or verse number 1. So this is how to play the 4 rounds of chord progression for verse number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, after verse number 1, chorus is to be repeated. And the duration of the chorus is 2 rounds of the chord progression. And I suggest for quarter note rhythm, all downstrokes for chorus part. So it goes like this. That's it. Next to that is verse number 2. The duration for verse number 2 is 3 rounds of the chord progression. And I suggest that you keep the quarter note rhythm for verse number 2. So all the chords are to be played for 2 measures on quarter note rhythm, all downstrokes. So it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Next to verse number 2 is verse number 3. And the duration of verse number 3 is just 2 rounds of the chord progression. And for this part, I suggest for 8-note rhythm. And for 8-note rhythm, you have a pair of down stroke and up stroke on each count. So it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Then after verse number 3, we repeat the chorus for the last time. And remember, for the chorus, you'll have to play it on quarter note rhythm. So it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There. That ends the playing part of the song, I Got a Feeling. And then you would hear the singing part. Ooh. that line is not accompanied by the instrument. But if you want, you can actually play a chord for that line by just strumming G once. That's another way to end the song. I hope that you have learned something from this tutorial. And if you are new to this channel, I hope that you would subscribe. And if you do, please don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any upload in the coming days. Also, please hit the like button. This channel has lessons on how to play the ukulele and also the guitar. At the end of this video are two end screens. One end screen is for the playlist on the guitar lessons and demonstrations, and the other end screen is for the playlist on the ukulele lessons and tutorials. I hope you enjoy watching this video. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.